Yes.
There's a sense of I'm watching, I'm observing, I'm doing. I'm relaxing or I'm not relaxing. There seems to be a subtle identification with the doer, which, like you said, at the mental state where that we perceive normally, we cannot avoid it because we are in the state of mind body identified with it.
Right.
But it seems to be in a state prior to that doer, which watches the doer itself. It
Right.
doesn't identify with the doer anymore.
Right.
So, and then he really perceives from experience that he's not the doer, but he still see the doer is there and everything is happening. And that is it's still
Creating some kind of doubt.
when it's in that state, prior to the doing, there is no doubt. But when it appears to identify with the doer again, and it seems so real that we need to do something, we cannot just, it's like on the state we are perceiving now, it seems so obvious. So it's like, yes.
What to do with that?
Well, it's very easy on sitting, for example, to non-identify and just observe that actually there are a lot of things in which what we consider I that are doing and happening by themselves.
Yeah.
But there is a little subtle, I should relax. I should not
Yeah,
relax.
yeah.
A sense of doing, it's
Yeah.
there, very subtle. And this is, and observing this and sometimes even letting go of this sense of I am the doer, it happens like this emptiness, but as soon as the mind gets active or the body starts working, the breath goes on and the mind starts to be active. It's
Okay.
so
That's the difficulty for the mind to accept or somehow to deal with. We cannot really do it, and somehow we have to do something about it. Because if we don't do something about it, we have the tendency to just continue in the same soup over and over and over. You know, don't get too much hooked on that idea of not being the doer. That I am the doer is a thought, is a concept. I am not the doer is also a thought, it's also a concept. It's useful to focus on the second one, I'm not the doer, to detach from that obsession, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and learn to let things just take their course, let things happen. But don't get hooked too much into that doer or not doer. You talked about that state prior to the doer. You cannot consciously, by effort, bring your attention to that state. But what you can do is make yourself available. And then something happens which is not in your personal choice, which doesn't come from you. In a way, the whole of spiritual practice is only slowly making yourself available. And you make yourself available by trying. There's nothing wrong doing that little subtle doing of observing. If you become aware that you are doing it, you can observe that. If you create a witness, then it's again a new image, and then you observe that also. But don't think it's wrong that you should do something else or you should not do something. If you were already with your attention rooted in that state that is prior to the doing, then the doubt cannot happen. But as long as we are with our attention there, then don't be afraid of those little doings that are there, helping yourself turn the attention in the right direction. That's the way you make yourself available, that something else that is not your personal self can take over and pick up your attention. We can't do that, but we can make ourselves available that this is happening. It may happen for a moment, and then it may disappear again.
So, yes, in this situation, it disappears again.
Yeah,
There is the doubt.
right,
It's not permanent.
right.
It should be permanent. So you doubt about the truth of this experience.
Right. But that's again something that doesn't lay in your hands and you cannot do it. But you can invite it by again taking up anew the burden of doing those little doings. Don't be afraid of those doings and prevent yourself by thinking, oh, it's no good, I shouldn't do. All doing is wrong. Because with your conscious doing, you are simply neutralizing what you are unconsciously doing all the time. And that little effort of bringing the attention, it's not that we have to make a tremendous effort and finally break through. And it's just as long as we are making so much effort of preventing us from being in that natural state, then don't be afraid of those little efforts of catching your attention, observing, and turn the attention in the right direction and relax. That doing is not doing you any bad thing. And then it may happen for a moment when you did not even try, suddenly you feel everything is perfectly right. You feel at ease, at peace. You don't know how it came about. You wonder why you are not functioning like this all the time. And then the mind comes again, and there we go again. And then don't fall into the trap that you think, oh my God, what did I do wrong? What did I think that this happened again? Or don't try to figure out what happened just before this happened, trying to recreate it. You didn't do it. These moments of grace, they happen by themselves. But usually they happen to people who make themselves available, who try to turn the attention in the right direction and try not to get caught in that current of me, I, mine, and learn to relax in spite of this being doings, subtle doings. But there you make yourself available. And if you keep going, then those moments will come back. And sometimes they may stay a bit longer, they may come more frequent, and eventually your attention may be sucked in so deep that you don't lose it anymore. But it's not something that you can do. It's not that you made a mistake, that it didn't happen like that. Theoretically it can happen any moment, but practically somehow everything has also to be right. And amongst those things that has to be right, that your expression, your psychophysical manifestation, your body, your nervous system has to be ready for it. Because if the attention stays there, then suddenly there is such a higher frequency flowing through your body. If you are not prepared, your nervous system is simply burning out. Either you turn crazy or you die.
Yes, yes.
So that this happens sometimes, and then you're yanked out of it. Don't think, oh, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? It was not a time that you could just really get rooted there, and you just go back to making yourself available in one way or another, without thinking it's something wrong that you are doing that. I came from the Advaitic teaching line, and so I would tell myself, I'm not a doer, I'm not a doer. But from moment to moment, forgetting completely and getting involved. And of course, all the time I felt, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But no, I'm not a doer, I'm not a doer. And then there came the point where really, somehow I felt, oh, I can't do a damn thing, like something cosmic takes over. And there I felt I cannot even wriggle a finger. But from the beginning it was made clear, this is just a state, don't get stuck there. It's very liberating, like, the whole responsibility for all the shit that you have built in your world. Oh, it's not my responsibility. I'm not the doer. It has always been that cosmic. But then gradually it became clear. But consciousness manifests, becoming aware, being one with the whole consciousness, being one with everything, still has its unique beauty in its own different expressions. And there is that spark of creativity in it that makes it possible, that inner beauty creatively is being experienced and expressed, and it influences the whole story, it influences that personal story, and it influences the whole story. So that I'm not a doer is not the last word. Then you come to the point, it's not that you have the final answer, it simply comes to the point, it doesn't matter at all anymore, the question of doership.